Go Joe show with me, Joe. Welcome to my show. This is my Wednesday show where I take the best of science and technology and merge it with business and startups so that you are the most informed and coolest person at the water cooler. As I mentioned, I call this Window Wandering Wednesday in the past, but I think I'm going to change it because I don't like that name. It doesn't really tell you what the hell I'm doing here. So moving forward, this will probably be known as the TBDK show, or the Too Busy Didn't Know That show, because I know I'm super busy and I can't keep up with everything. So I'm breaking down the latest and greatest for you on this show. And we'll continue to look out of nice windows so that we have a nice background to kind of sit and talk with each other. Though this is a one-way street, so I don't know who I'm really talking with. Maybe eventually I'll figure out how to do this on Twitch, and then you guys can interact with me on Wednesdays. But today we got such topics as Amazon taking on Kickstarter with their Build It service. We got mammoths. Yeah, you remember those woolly mammoths, big old furry elephants? They've had their full DNA sequenced, which maybe means we're gonna get Mammoth Park. Won't be Jurassic Park, but it might be Mammoth Park. Get to ride around on a big old fluffy elephant, which would be kind of cool. We've got protein made from air. So you guys know about cell-based protein, where they're growing proteins, meat in a laboratory. Well, now they're pulling it right out of thin air. How the hell they're doing that, I have no idea. We got news from Sony about the PS5 VR. We got Bitcoin as security for botnets, whatever that means. We got a Mars rover touching down on the red planet, and a big breakthrough in lucid dreaming. There's been communication. We've talked to people dreaming in lucid dreams. All that and more on the TBDK show coming at you. Welcome again to this show called TBDK. This is going to be episode 1 of TBDK. We'll go from here. So as you can see behind me, I've got a nice window out of Vancouver, Washington, I think. Yeah, super cool, nice green backyard. But let's talk about some cool science and technology news. The first thing I'll touch on is Amazon with their Kickstarter or Indiegogo knockoff program called Build It. Amazon's Build It program is an effort where customers can choose to back a product, and if there's enough support within 30 days, Amazon will build it. Now, I don't know if Amazon is actually doing this. Let's see here. We can see here behind me, yeah, Amazon Cuckoo clock, I guess, was their first thing. I don't know if they're actually allowing people to make up their own products, or they're just products that Amazon wants to work on. It seems like it's just products that Amazon wants to work on. Here's a sticky note printer that I guess doesn't use any ink. It just uses thermal imaging technology so that you can print out off of sticky notes and do crazy things like play Sudoku on your sticky note, or I guess make to-do lists and other stuff that maybe would take a little bit more time if you were drawing it on your own. They also have some sort of smart scale for nutrition, as we can see here. I think it's also Alexa enabled. All of these things are Alexa enabled. So this is like their Build It platform combined with their Alexa platform. So I guess when you're measuring stuff, you can ask the smart scale. Alexa, ask smart scale how much sugar is in these blueberries. Pretty crazy. That, yeah, I guess it wouldn't know that there are blueberries on it, but you would tell it through your voice that there's blueberries on it. Very interesting. So Amazon coming for Kickstarter. They just seem to, I don't know why Amazon doesn't get more slack for this. They also aggressively copy their competitors' products. The joke is that Facebook uses Snapchat as their like external R&D. Facebook copies everybody's thing. So they try to do a TikTok ripoff. They tried to do a Snapchat ripoff with the filters way back in the day, and stories they stole directly from Snapchat. So they're always stealing stuff from different platforms. And yeah, Amazon does the exact same thing, but nobody really calls them out on it. So now they're trying to put Kickstarter and Indiegogo out of business. And another story I read recently, they purchased a company called Selv, I think. It's like Sell with a V, Selv. And it's pretty much a Shopify competitor. So it empowers people to set up a store through Amazon very quickly in a Shopify type fashion. So they're also trying to take out Shopify, and they notoriously copy people's products by spying on what's selling on Amazon, because they know, and then making like a cheaper version of it, undercutting, and then driving people out of business. And Amazon is actually notorious for using other people for researching products. And now it seems like they're just getting into the product development game through Kickstarter-like means. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see where it goes. I don't know if it's going to grow as big as Kickstarter just because of brand recognition. But Amazon does have the logistics and the power to make things really interesting. So if perhaps you as just an entrepreneur listed on Amazon Build It, and they would actually make whatever you build if it gets funded, that's pretty rad. That uses the expertise of Amazon's development and their logistics platform for shipping and handling and all that ordering stuff, and then empowers a consumer to quickly make a product, which is actually one of the harder things to do, is make a new product. If you want to do that by yourself, you have to get into contact with suppliers in China and like message them, and it's a huge deal. So it's pretty interesting that Amazon is moving towards taking over that Indiegogo Kickstarter market. We'll see if it'll be successful. I'm sure it will be semi-successful, but to me it feels like one of those projects that Amazon does that lasts for a couple years and then kind of fades off into the distance. Could be wrong about it. We'll see what happens in 5 years. We'll check back in on this one. Someone set a Reddit timer for check back in on Joe in 5 years for this particular episode. Amazon Build It. Check it out if you want to get a sticky note printer or a Cuckoo clock that has Alexa built into it. Don't know why you want that. Science news, though. Moving on from Amazon into some science news. Scientists extract not the sequence, but they sequence the DNA of a 1,000,000-year-old mammoth. A team of 22 researchers from 9 countries has sequenced ancient DNA from the remains of 3 different mammoth species. The DNA was estimated to be between 0.7 and 1.2 million years old, the oldest that has ever been recorded and sequenced. One of the mammoths was found to belong to an unknown genetic lineage, which was unexpected considering its similarities to another mammoth in the same area. Many of the cold adaptations in woolly mammoths were already present in their ancestors. It may be possible to sequence even older DNA if it can be found and recovered. So this is interesting to me for 2 reasons. As I mentioned at the top of the show, if we can sequence their DNA, maybe we can also somehow genetically engineer it and then impregnate it into an elephant egg or egg. They're mammals. In a female elephant, and then grow a woolly mammoth, and maybe we can finally recover this dead extinct species, which is interesting for a couple reasons. This opens up the possibility to now start going on record for somebody to just take blood samples or genetic samples from animals all over the world and create kind of a database of animals, so that if anything does go extinct that we want to hold on to, we can potentially genetically engineer these animals, these species, back alive, which is pretty cool. If we could also use this to, sequence a dinosaur and make some sort of dinosaur hatch out of a lizard, Komodo dragon, crocodile or something, that would also be incredible. I mean, that's just goddamn Jurassic Park, right? That's just Jurassic Park. But an unexpected twist, or another kind of area to apply this to, is human lineage. So here it says that they recovered an unknown genetic lineage for these mammoths, meaning that they thought a specific type of species was in one place, and they discovered that there was a totally new species in, let's just say, the Siberian plains, where they extracted this mammoth DNA. And if we apply that to humans, we could potentially start to really find out where humans originated from, the different subspecies of humans to apes, and all sorts of other lineage mysteries that exist currently for human evolution, or really the evolution of any type of animal. But this is super interesting. If anybody out there has access to it, maybe creating this database of animals is a good idea, especially, like I said, if you can take that DNA and then actually recreate these species in the future will definitely be able to do that. So you're just looking at a long-term plan by starting this animal database. Maybe we should do that. I got to look into that. I'm not sure if anybody is actually doing an animal database or not, but I think it's a really interesting and good idea. Let's just take a quick look at the article and see if there's any sort of interesting pictures or anything in this. No. Surprise finding. Nah, nothing. That's what a woolly mammoth looks like. If you didn't know, it's a furry elephant. Now you know. Now you know. Let's move on to the next story, though, but we're going to grab another window in the meantime. If you are watching online, you can see that we're now in Italy. If not, then you wouldn't know that. But it's a Italian villa looking over. Looks to be almost a mountainous valley. It's very pretty. Maybe they're growing wine here. I'm not really sure, but this is... Now we're in Italy to talk about how the U.S. military is using 3D printing factories inside of shipping containers. Let's see here. The U.S. Department of Defense has these shipping container factories. You can see it here in this mock-up. This very lame mock-up. Like, dude, so standard military mock-up. Let's throw some camouflage on the side of it and say it's for the army. It's so stupid. So it looks like a shipping container, if you can't see it, that's painted to look like camouflage. If you've seen military weaponry, there's like a certain pattern, camo pattern, that they put onto objects. It looks exactly like that with 2 entry doors. And then there's a rendering above it that is like a cross section. So they removed part of the wall so you can see inside of it. It looks very boring inside. There is a desk with 2 shelves, a computer, and then a big 3D printer next to it, another one to the right, and in the middle of the 2 printers that I just described is something that looks like a giant washing machine, but is probably just another 3D printer. And then maybe a server rack on the very right-hand side, or materials rack for the filament. Not very exciting to look at. They probably could have, I don't know, made it a little bit more exciting to look at. Maybe hung a poster of a nice 5-star general just to really drive it home. Oh, here we go. Here's what it says, is that there is the prep station, which is what I was describing as a computer desk. The metallic and ceramic binder jet printer. Binder jet means that they take powdered filament and then they spray a binder into it and they build it up like that using powder and liquid binder. Then they've got a curing oven if they're working with ceramics. Obviously, they would need that. I thought it was a big washing machine. It's not. It's a curing oven. A plastic 3D printer that's fiber reinforced. And then a compression molding station. None of these things have filament storage locations, so maybe that's the 2 very small cabinets above the computer. But they teamed up with a company called XO, I think. X1, not XO, X1, to do this. It's really cool. I don't know what exactly the military is using it for. Maybe on-site drone repairs. So if they have a drone and they need to fix it so that they can continue doing a mission, they could do that. They could make spare parts for weapons, I guess. They could also maybe make certain tools for soldiers and other such things. X1 is outsourcing a number of partners for the project. So they're not doing it by themselves. They're contracting with a bunch of people. Issues arising from crises can be fixed quickly as possible. Oh, okay, so maybe they can deploy these also to disaster zones or crisis zones where there is a big hurricane or some sort of natural weather disaster. And then they can help in different ways with people, I guess, getting parts that they need for repairs. Yeah, for disaster situations. Maybe even printing off things like, I don't know, shelter or housing or tents of some sort or different seating. I don't know how big these printers can go, but yeah, on-site sand and metal printing. Pretty cool. Curious where they're going to deploy it and how many they're going to make. But that's a very interesting use of 3D printing that I haven't really seen before, and congratulations to them for getting such a rad contract. It's pretty neat. What else do we got here? I also read, though I'm not going to get into it, a very interesting article about how to survive a fall out of a plane. And I guess there's not really great odds of surviving, but you can increase your odds. And for some reason, I just never thought about it clearly, but there's a terminal velocity at which you're falling at. So it's not like you can continue gaining speed until you plummet into the ground. Like eventually you top out in speed, and then if you can find something to land on, like maybe wires, for example, like a high tension wire, you could potentially slow your fall down. They also talk about the landing and if you should land feet first or if you should try to enter fists first, with like if you're going into the water, which there's no difference if you're going on land or water. Really interesting article. I'll try to link it in the description below if you do want to read it. But yeah, how to survive a fall. If you have flying nerves, maybe it'll help numb the pain a little bit. I don't really know. But let's talk about the big breakthrough of this week, and that is that scientists achieve real-time communication with lucid dreamers. This is both incredible and frightening because if I think about it, I mean, this is pretty much a disaster for marriages. Like, let's think about it. When your wife can come to you and say, in your dream, you're sleeping and you don't control your dreams, but you're cheating on your wife in your dreams, and she comes in and like, I can't believe that you're having sex with Sally in your dreams. Stop having sex with Sally in your dreams. I can see what you're doing. And you're just sitting there in your sleep, and then you just hear this loud booming voice that says, hey, stop banging the neighbor. Like, come on, man. Can't escape reality. Having fun in your dream, murdering the barista for messing up your coffee order, and then you got the FBI breathing down your neck like, why were you dreaming that? This is the worst news that we could possibly get. Seriously, though, a team of international researchers has achieved real-time dialogues with people during lucid dreams. The participants in the study responded correctly to questions while in REM sleep. About 18% of trials in the study resulted in clear and accurate communication from the dreamers, while 60% didn't provoke any responses. Many participants were able to recall the interactions after they woke up as well. Further research will probe the possibilities of two-way communication with lucid dreamers. Is there any sort of interesting, like, no, there's no pictures here. I thought maybe we were going to get some pictures. Let's hear a lab technician said, it's amazing to sit in the lab and ask a bunch of questions and somebody might actually answer one. It's such an immediately rewarding type of experiment to do. You don't have to wait to analyze your data or anything like that. You can see it right there while they're sleeping. What type of questions did they ask them? Was it like, who wants to be a millionaire type questions? Or was it like, do you hear us? Are you hearing this? These eye signals, along with facial contortions, were used as means of communication during sleep sessions. For instance, here we go. The researchers asked a 19-year-old American participant to subtract 2 from 8. Wow, can't read. To subtract 6 from 8 while he was in a lucid dream. He correctly signaled the answer 2 with 2 eye movements from left to right. When asked again, he repeated the correct answer. Roughly 18% of the trials resulted in this level of clear and accurate communication from a dreamer. 17% produced indecipherable answers. 3% ended with incorrect responses. And 60% did not provoke any response at all. Huh. Do we consider that communicating with the dreamer? So this 19-year-old was sleeping in the study, taking a nap, and they were like whispering in his ear, subtract 6 from 8. Hey, Mark, subtract 6 from 8. And like, were they expecting him to say 2? I mean, clearly not. They said that he signaled correctly by moving his eyes from left to right, but like, that's a pretty basic move, right? Like, could you have set it up to say, what is 6 plus 8? That, if he's correctly signaled by moving his eyes back and forth 14 times, like, that would be super interesting. But if I just close my eyes and move them back and forth left to right, you could say that's 2 movements because it's left and then right. So maybe he was looking around in his dream or his eyes were busy and he moved them left and right and then back to center, and they considered that the correct answer. Or maybe they should have asked, like, what's 3 plus 5? Like, give him a bigger number to do, not just 2. That to me seems like a pretty, questionable correlation. Correlation isn't causation in this case. So I wonder what else that they did, if there was anything else. Kanalki and her colleagues recruited 36 people to fall asleep in laboratories in the United States, France, Germany, and Netherlands with the aim of entering a lucid state in which the person was aware that they were in a dream. The study included several experienced lucid dreamers, including one individual with narcolepsy, as well as people who were less familiar with this type of dream. The researchers verified that the participants had entered REM sleep by placing electrodes next to their eyes. Some of the participants were then asked to confirm that they were in a dream with a pre-arranged ocular response in which they moved their eyes in a specific left-right pattern. Again, left-right pattern isn't really much of a pattern. I still don't know how I feel about this study. It's very interesting. It's very cool. I like the idea of communicating with people in a dream, but the methodology here is very questionable. Very, very questionable. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments what your opinion are on this. Did they actually communicate with these lucid dreamers, or was this all a dream? Don't know. We grabbed a new window here over in Australia. Looks like kind of the grassy land deserts, half grassland, half desert. I don't know what that's called. Savannah. Looks like a savanna in Australia. Very beautiful. Also looks warm. And boy, do I miss the warmth. Winter can leave it. Get the hell out of here. No interest in wintertime. Only to visit. More exciting though is, and I think that people were excited about this, but like, this is actually really, really incredible. We're living in a time when we have the ability to hear another planet. Like, literally, we just heard recordings from Mars because the Mars rover successfully touched down on the red planet. We're getting video feeds and sounds directly from our planetary neighbor. There were thousands, hundreds of thousands, billions of people, millions of people that have looked up into the night sky over the course of history and wondered, what does it sound like? What's out there? And we're living in a time when we're getting real-time updates from these planets. Like, it's so cool to think about. It's so cool to think about that we have a piece of technology human built on our neighboring planet. That is some Star Trek shit. Perseverance successfully landed on Mars on Thursday around 3:55 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the 5th rover to land on Mars, and the rover will now begin its 2-year mission to roam the surface of the planet and search for signs of ancient microbial life. It will spend the next few days taking pictures of the Jezero crater where it landed. Jezero's lake bed is one of the best places to look for biosignatures. The rover is also carrying Ingenuity, a small helicopter. Yo, it's got a drone, which would be the first controlled aircraft on another planet. Earlier this month, spacecraft launched from the UAE and China reached Mars and moved into orbit around the planet. So this, they didn't mention in this article, but the rover had sound. And so if you could look it up online, you can actually hear the red planet for the first time from the surface, which is pretty cool. But I didn't know that they had a drone, a little aircraft that's going to fly around Mars. That's so fucking cool, dude. That is rad. Like I said, we're living in the future. And on that note, though, I don't know why we're so obsessed with finding microbial life on Mars. Mars, to me, feels like it hasn't, or maybe I don't know enough about space, but it feels like it hasn't been in the Goldilocks zone of habitability yet. Earth is in this nice zone where it's the perfect distance away from the sun to be habitable so that water can form. But millions of years ago, the sun was a lot smaller than it is now, meaning that Venus, the next planet over, the opposite direction, at one point might have been in a habitable zone for that period, like thousands of years period. So we should be, in my mind, sending some probes over to Venus to see if we can find remnants of possible life there, as at one point, before the sun grew bigger and Venus became the hot, wasted, toasty planet that it is now, it could have been habitable and maybe even had water at one point. I think that I read recently that they were doing these sorts of studies, but I think that our focus needs to be, if we're looking for historical things, on Venus, but for the future of Earth on Mars, as eventually the Earth is going to be in a non-habitable zone as the sun grows bigger and bigger. I mean, it's going to be millions of years before that happens, but at some point it's going to happen and Earth is going to be toasted, just like Mercury and Venus are currently. So we should be looking at Mars as an escape plan until we can maybe, just start terraforming wherever. But yeah, we should send probes to Venus, man, and check out what's going on in Venus. And definitely, if you have any kindergartners in your life, make sure that they're not saying Venus penis, because I can speak from experience as a kindergartner, got in trouble for that. So definitely don't say Venus penis around your teacher. Do it at home under the blanket fort with your friends. Mars rover, check it out. I think it's pretty cool that we touched down. I think it's very, very incredible. And here we got this nice little live stream of the rover touching down. Yeah, people celebrating. Woo! It is very exciting, actually. This mission control, oh, there we go. Perseverance landed. Got a nice UI here. They had a really nice UI going on. Touchdown confirmed. 6 points for NASA. Touchdown confirmed. I don't even like football. Is it 6 points? I think it's 6 points. I don't know. Some other cool stuff. Samsung leaked a concept of its first AR glasses. Let's check it. Oh my God. Look how nerdy that is. These are sunglasses mode for Samsung. Let's see here. Samsung Glasses Lite. We've got, they look like Snapchat spectacles, to be honest. So here's the Samsung glasses, AR glasses. Although they look really thick. They don't look too bad. Honestly, compared to a lot of other AR glasses that I've seen, they don't look bad at all. They're definitely fake, for this demonstration, but it's really not bad. And I do like this idea. I love this idea that computers are going to start being, oh my God, I thought he was watching porn for a second. Oh my God. Wow. Where's my brain at? But I think it's rad if we were to have these glasses that we don't need big computer screens like I'm looking at now for this. We would just need these glasses that we could have the screen as big as we want in our peripheral or as small as we want and duplicate as many screens as we want. Like, that is going to be incredible. That is where people should be focusing on. That is so rad. That's cool. Those are cool glasses. And as I mentioned, I don't think they look that bad. Like, I've definitely seen worse concepts. They just look like sunglasses. Like thick-ass sunglasses. Yeah, here's this guy doing some home modifications and stuff. Taking calls. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do these holograms. That's not going to happen. This collaboration with holograms, not sure about that. That was a bit futuristic for the now, but I like the glasses though. They look nice. I'd wear them. I would probably look a huge nerd with them on, but why not? Why not wear them? Samsung VR glasses. You guys excited for AR technology? If you're not looking at AR technology, you got to get on it because it's definitely where the future is headed. And as I said, we're going to take these operating systems and it's going to be integrated into the hardware of these AR glasses. And we're just going to see Windows and Mac stuff in front of us instead of having these screens. And then we'll be able to play video games. You can just take your games wherever. Like, we don't even have to worry about it. The question then, is it going to sync up with our phone and how does that work? Our phone is going to be the edge computing power for this new, I was going to say this new race, but it's not race, this new breakthrough in tech. It's going to be edge computing and 5G technology combined with AR glasses like we just saw. Pretty cool. Another sciencey tech news, Spotify reveals new movements in subscription for high fidelity streaming audio, 80 country expansion, and new exclusive podcast, which they announced with the Barack Obama and some Jimmy Buffett. I don't know who it was. Some country music star, I think. But yeah, Spotify, $20 a month, high fidelity audio. I think it's genius. If you're not invested in Spotify, I think now is a great time to invest in Spotify. It's going to be a valuable stock moving forward. Huawei is unveiling a new foldable device. As we can see here, it is a foldable phone. They're coming. They're more and more popular, taking 2 LED screens and then placing them next to each other and closing that seam in some way so you can fold your phone over and have an even bigger screen. We're pretty much just we're taking laptops and making them even smaller in pocket size. That's pretty much what's happened at this point with our cell phones. They're not even phones. They're just mobile. They're just computers. They're computers that are in our pockets. That's what it is. We've also got air protein. So this Bay Area company makes meat from air using space age science. Air Protein is a startup that makes a meat alternative using fermentation technology. Its technology can transform CO2 into a complete edible protein, making meat in days while using exponentially less arable land, natural resources, and with less greenhouse gas emissions compared to traditional farming. But isn't it taking CO2? So it's taking carbon. That's what we don't want in the air, CO2, if I remember what carbon is correctly. And then making it into meat. If that's true, isn't that like the biggest breakthrough in green technology ever? We don't have to have cows. We can just make protein out of air? What? If this is true, this seems like it should be every green person's dream, wet dream. Like, this is incredible, making meat from air. I'm very curious when that's going to hit the market and what it's going to taste like. I don't think there's any pictures of it. If you're watching on YouTube, we're checking that out, and I don't see any. They do have some sort of protein picture. I don't know if this is actually their protein, but it looks like chicken, like really soaked chicken, soaked in soy sauce. It has like a darker look. Huh. Seen here with vegetables. Let's zoom into it. Yeah, it just looks like chicken. Yo, if that's got the same macros as chicken, and I can replace chicken with air protein, I am all for that. 100%. Transform carbon dioxide into protein. Like, seriously, my mind is blown right now. That's literally that seems impossible. Yeah. Wow. My brain can't even handle that right now. What do you think about it? Would you eat carbon dioxide protein? Wow. I was still going to talk about PS5 VR and Bitcoin security, but after that, I feel like I got to end the show because my mind was just blown. Air protein. Shout out. Check it out. That's insane. Yeah, and with that, I'm going to end this week's what did I call it? TBDK. Too Busy Didn't Know. That was this week's Too Busy Didn't Know. TBDK. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you do, hit that subscribe button, mash the bell, and share me with a friend to help me grow this show and this channel, and check out some of my other content as well. I'm all over the place in content. I really got to focus down and do something interesting or split this off into multiple YouTube channels. But yeah, let me know what you like and what you don't like in the comments. But until next week, I hope you read about something cool, and I hope you tell somebody some dope shit that you learned on this podcast and this YouTube show. Come back next week for more business, science, startup, and technology news. And until then, you know it. I love you.